Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. Well, with the Halo the Master Chief Collection reviewed, it's time to take a look at the last Halo game, the one that came out last year. It's time to take a look at Halo 5, a game that last year was kind of released with a mixed bag opinion among gamers. And the reason for a lot of its hostility was the one thing that you really shouldn't judge a first-person shooter on, its story. That said, I know Halo goes by its story. There's a whole bunch of novels and comic books and even movies that are also part of the actual game canon, so a lot of Halo fans want to enjoy the games for the story, and for a first-person shooter games, the stories are pretty good by and large. But I don't get invested with them, even though they are kind of good. It's just not something I myself want to get invested in. So what exactly did they do wrong in this one? Well, a lot of it ticked me off isn't what ticked off a lot of other people. So what ticked me off about this game's story? Well, let's dig into Halo's 5 story, and plot spoiler warning, in order to get to what hacks me off about this game, I have to reveal some of the ending and the major plot twist. So if you're not into spoilers, then skip to the graphics segment. The game takes place sometime after Halo 4 and after Cortana died, saving the Master Chief from the Didact. However, the Osiris Spartan team gets a mission to go out and rescue Dr. Hazley from the Covenant after she betrayed the UNSC to the Covenant. It seems it was all a part of something Hazley wanted to check out and confirmed. She's worried that if Cortana is still alive, she would now be corrupt and would be going incredibly evil, and if she ever got the power of the Forerunners, things could really hit the fan. She immediately gets back to Infinity to work on a plan to stop her. Meanwhile, the Master Chief gets a message from Cortana and goes AWOL in order to find her. This causes the UNSC to send the Osiris team in order to bring the Chief back home before he finds out the hard way that the Cortana he knew is gone. So what exactly went wrong with this game's story? Well, the trailers and advertisements kind of had it set up that it would be some sort of Chief versus Commander lock in some sort of epic battle, that the game would be told like Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep with a two-tier story, and you would have to probably go through both campaigns to find the truth, and that the two had legitimate reasons to hate each other, and that the two would be engaged in mortal combat with each other. No, it's as simple as Locke is in charge with bringing the Chief back home because he believes the Chief is too stupid to realize the dangers he's in. In the end, we find out the Chief knew from the get-go that his old friend had flipped her lid and became a danger to the galaxy. He just figures it's his duty to pull her plug. The most we get as far as fighting between the two is a cutscene where the two have a brief fist fight. Some Mortal Kombat, huh? Cracked infidelity. But even with the stories not awful, at least not for that reason, it ticks me off because, well, they blew a plot twist thrown out of the original game and kind of blew it at a time where it could have made a major impact. Okay, so in case you're not aware, one of the original drafts of the first Halo game had Cortana going nuts when she was plugged into the Halo array from all the data she obtained and tried to take over everything. It would be up to the Chief and the Monitor to save the day. Bungie threw it out because they liked the character of Cortana better. Now to do it with all the Chief and her have been through now, and with the players experiencing it alongside them seeing her being tortured by the Gravemind, her breaking down in Halo 4, it would be a big impact in the Chief as well as the player to see this kind of betrayal as it kind of unfolds. Unfortunately, rather than focusing on the Chief and his inner struggle to figure out what to do with his malfunctioning AI friend, we deal 90% of the time with the Locke character and his crew trying to find the Chief. We play as the Master Chief for just 3 stages. 3 freaking stages, and that's it. The rest of the time we are with this guy who's got the personality of mud. To put it into context, we play more as the Arbiter in Halo 2. Heck, the Arbiter has more of a role in this game than the Master Chief does. It's kind of like, I don't know, a Mega Man X game where instead of playing as X, you play as some completely new character that is whining and annoying for the majority of the game before you can finally unlock X for just a short while. Fortunately, a game like that doesn't exist, even if I have already reviewed it. The only good thing I can say about his team is they brought Buck back from OTST to be the old man of the group, and he gets a few good lines in here and there. Oh, and one more thing. I guess it is a little freaky that they released this game with the story the way it is a few months after Windows 10 came out and put Cortana on every Windows PC. Now she can finally literally become Skynet, I guess. So what's the gameplay like? On the campaign, well, there has been some major changes. Okay, first off, you now have a life bar again, and fewer hits than any of the other Halo games. But I do like what they did with the life bar. If that second life bar runs out, you die, and it always goes down when you're hit without shields. But it refills to full when your shields recharge. Basically, it's a way of letting you know precisely how much damage you can take at critical before you're down for the count. Now, the big change, with the exception of a few things that seem to randomly kill you instantly, you can be revived by a teammate, and revived teammates get a temporary health boost too for doing it. It's okay, and it's nice to notice sometimes I'm not going to be punished too badly for a single mistake. But at the same time, this also exposes the game's biggest flaws. Your AI companions are a little bit crappy about knowing how to bring you back to life. They sometimes just run into danger rather than taking out enemies or watching out for fire themselves, and sometimes end up getting killed while they run to your rescue. Don't ever die in front of a turret, because you're just going to watch your entire team just run up to the turret trying to bring you back and watch them get knocked out themselves, and it's majorly frustrating that none of them know to throw a grenade to take out the turret before coming to your rescue, and because of that, the game can be a little bit frustrating. And it's added to more frustration because sometimes they lengthen the areas between checkpoints, and you can see where some of my frustrations would come in on stages that have a lot of enemies and a lot of areas to climb and explore and try to root out enemies to sometimes get killed by an instant kill from a tank that you didn't see and then have to start the whole area over. And when that happens, like I said, majorly frustrating. The stage you see right here is probably the hardest in the game. It's about the halfway point. It's a beautifully done stage when it comes to its looks, but it's really frustrating. Anyways, the same Halo troops still apply though for the rest of the game. Only two weapons can be held at the same time, and again, the recharging shields. And the AI, for the most part, is still impressive. There's not too much as far as new weapons and new enemies, although the Promethean weapons all have seemed to have minor changes to them. And as far as the Prometheans go, well, they now have this new versions which are kind of like their versions of the elites. They're kind of armored and take a few hits to take out, but they're generally common and they're not really hard to take down. The knights are now considered the brutes, and whenever you encountered one, it's a real pain in taking them out. The stage designs, though, are top-notch with just not only their looks, but their designs. They are all well done for having battles. Sometimes a little intricate when it comes to scaling some of these structures, and the fact that you now have the ability to pull yourself up on ledges brings a bit more platforming to the mix, and it's surprisingly good. If I have one more complaint about the game is get used to this boss fight because it's the only real boss you have, but he's used repeatedly and he's a real pain to take down. Whenever he pops up, it gets real frustrating sometimes to deal with him. You basically have to shoot him either in the face or in the arms until he opens up his back and then blow out the little black hole thing that's kind of just standing in his back for his body to kind of just disintegrate. But he pops up repeatedly, and whenever he does, he's just not fun to take down. He's just a big pain, and I don't think the game is better off with him in it. Going with the stage design, we have some really great looking graphics and set pieces from a glass planet to the Elite's homeworld. It's all beautiful to look at, and just looking up at the sky and seeing things buzzing around, it's all done perfectly. I should note that I guess since Cortana is again becoming a major thing for Microsoft, they decided to cover up when she has her big scene. It only shows her change in character as she's more ruthless and on the wrong side of psychotic, but it's probably the reason why this game got a teen rating. Some good music again. Halo has one of the best soundtracks in FPS history, and we got a great line of voice actors to do the voices. They all sound really great here. I might not like the character of Luck, but he has a good voice, and one of my best changes in this game is they once again have the grunts voiced in English, and one of them even sings.
It's unusual for anyone to anthropomorphize an AI so deeply as to consider them a friend.
Sun and moon and planets roll.
It makes the beatdown you give on these guys all the more satisfying. The online in this game is pretty good for the most part. I haven't taken online as much as I have the other Halo games, but I have played. It's pretty fun. All the basic groups are there. You level up and rank every 10 games, and I guess that goes by season. The basic matches are smooth and fun. The new ones, though, are an arena mode, which I can only say is Halo goes Battlefield. You basically drop into an area where you have to either defend or attack large areas and use vehicles in order to get around. Not as fun as Battlefield, but it's a good first attempt. Overall, I enjoyed the online, and I can see myself popping this game in from time to time to play its online. I give Halo 5 a solid 4.5 out of 5. It's a good game. It's not perfect. It's got its flaws, especially with the story. I'm more mad about the potential of what could have been if they focused on the Master Chief and his problem with Cortana, because what they had here was they threw away an original script back at the beginning of something that would have been your typical video game plot twist, and now could have made it legendary just because there's just so much more there that Master Chief and Cortana have gone through in the past games. And instead of exploring that, we get to see Locke kind of just doodle around trying to find Chief, and it's boring as far as the story go. But once you get past that, you still have some really good stages that's still really fun to play. One or two flaws with the AI that make it extremely hard, and again, the checkpoints are more of a problem than they are in other Halo games, and for me, that makes it extremely bad. I'm not exactly really great with these first-person shooters, but it still had a really fun online. I like the arena mode, and I like where they're going with this series. I think this is more of a step up than a step down once you get past the story. Anyways, I'm done with Halo games for the time being. Time to get back to what I'm usually used to playing, adventures, platformers, and RPGs and that type of things. But if you would like, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I do game reviews, I do editorials, and I do other fun things on this channel, and I would love to have you as a member of my community. This is Tommy the Game Master signing out.